Welcome to episode 2 of my current stupid idea, where we are going to turn a MiniCooper into a burnout machine. Easiest way to do burnouts is with a V8 engine. Easiest way to put a V8 engine into a MiniCooper is to put a MiniCooper onto an S10 truck frame. So that's what we're doing. Last video, we bought a MiniCooper at auction for $400. Then I did what I do best and may or may not be addicted to, which was senselessly cut the MiniCooper to pieces, removing every single component of the car that did not have to do with the outside body. Then I acquired an S10, basically repeated the same process, cut it to absolute pieces, retaining only the floor, the frame, wheels, tires, and the firewall. Then I introduced the MiniCooper to the S10 so they can start to date and get to know each other before I force them into a marriage in which they can't escape. Now you're up to speed, so buckle up because we're about to get busy.
Look, it's on fire.
Oh yeah, and we only have 2 months to complete the build before we have to tow it down to Florida to visit a giraffe sanctuary where we're going to do the world's greatest burnout anyone has ever seen from an S10 MiniCooper. Okay, very last thing before we get into this video, we are hosting our very own Cars and Coffee Sunday, September 15th. We're going to bring the GUMOUT truck, and then you guys are going to vote on either the Jeep or the Bug, and we're going to bring one of those two. Mina's going to be there, he's going to bring his car, Max is going to be there, Manny's going to be there. If you guys have a show car, a jalopy, a race car, we don't care, bring it. We don't know if the parking lot we got is going to be the perfect size for this event because we haven't done this before, or if it's going to be chaos and there's going to be hundreds of you. So we don't know. Then we're going to give it a shot, and if it's a giant success, we'll get a bigger lot next time. We're going to have free stickers. Everyone that shows up, we're going to have our shirts and stuff there, but just come to hang out. You don't have to buy nothing. I'm going to make a trophy out of some car parts for just my favorite car. No category specifically, just whatever I see that I'm like, I want that. That's who the trophy's gonna go to. So mark your calendars. There's a link in the description to the Facebook event. You can take another screenshot of the screen now, and we'll see you there. But now, we did a lot in this video, and I'm very excited to show you.
Oh, actually, it looks half decent.
While the camera's out, they powder coated everything that we have to grind down and weld. So, shout out. Oh, but they powder coated the bottom of the threads blue so it doesn't rust. Hello, my curious little koalas. We're about to install the cheapest 4-link kit I've ever had the displeasure of using. Nothing fits, nothing lines up, and there are no instructions online from the company in which I bought it from. We have no idea what we're doing on this. We say that often. This time I really mean it. We have no idea. No, not a freaking clue. That's what we're doing. That's what you're in for. Buckle up. So why go through the trouble of a 4-link setup on a car whose only job is to do burnouts when leaf springs would serve that purpose just fine? Well, the rear bumper of the MiniCooper is so close to its rear wheel and tire, and as you can see, the S10 frame sticks out significantly past the rear wheel and tire. So in efforts to hide the frame behind the bumper, we have to cut a section of it off. You'll notice that the leaf springs mount to the section of the frame that we need to chop. So when you get rid of leaf springs, you have no suspension. So that's why we have to add the 4-link bars and coilovers. Otherwise, we'd have no suspension to ride on, and the rear end would be moving all over the place because nothing is there to hold it. This was supposed to be the easy part. It's tearing everything down, getting everything naked, ready to weld. However, these wheels did not fit over the center hub of the rear end, and therefore every single lug nut was stripped and one broke when we removed it. But a moment ago, you would have noticed that we had all of this off already, and then with the jack moving the frame back and forth, we realized we lost center of the rear end. So we made, I think, what did they call this? A plum doodle. I don't know. Usually there's a pointed edge on the other end of this, but you can basically use something like this to find center, which is basically what we did. So now we can rip all this apart again. Me and Zach, today is a new day. Zach was here yesterday helping me. 2-inch drop spindles and 2-inch lowering springs for the front. So the front's gonna lower 4 inches. We're gonna lower this 4 inches so that the pinion angle stays the same. That's an entirely new thing I've never even thought about before, is pinion angle. I don't know if it's even affected by this, but we're just trying to make sure we're doing everything right. So 4 inches, 4 inches, and then once we get this situated, also we may or may not run coilovers in the back. We might straight weld the height. There's several trains of thoughts. we'll go into it. Dragsters, I found out, dragsters, like 290,000 mile an hour dragsters, have no rear suspension. Didn't know that. So dumb. There are many things in this world that frustrate me, but none more so than people not having common sense and powder coating something that has to be welded on seems to be at the top of zero common sense. It would be easier for, whatever, let's move on. So we're now 5 inches from the axle to that lip there. We were at 9 inches. That's minus 4 inches for those of you who math like I do. On the plus side, that thing looks freaking sick at night.
I mean, it's best to get like right there, but because that's like a too well tuned up.
Right.
I don't know, it wants to be like right there.
I don't know what it wants because they didn't give instructions. Diff. Well, tell us right away if this is a stupid idea or not. Oh no! Dennis is a liar. Oh no. We've revised your design. What are you looking for? Why are you looking so intently at my motor?
Let's lift it.
We can't go much lower. I mean, I guess we could. Stuff. Don't do that.
What? It shouldn't go anywhere. It's solid.
See, that's enough suspension travel.
Yeah? See how toppy though?
Yeah. And?
I don't know.
What we got to do now in order to install these is cut this support out, and then we have to plate that like we did down there, and then this will weld about right where that is and then weld onto here. I have no more metal like that, but we do have the rest of this frame. So I'm going to cut pieces off and we're going to reutilize what we have because we have nothing else to utilize. Trophies on a vacation far away. Use your love tonight. Just wanna use your love tonight. Oopsies. Now is the moment of truth. We will see if this articulates. That's what the professionals call it. Oh my gosh. It's articulating. See how far down it goes. Look at that. I saw something on a roadkill episode, and you should be able to kind of move it. Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Neat. Check that out. Articulation. If we were gonna do 100 and something miles an hour with this, I don't think I would trust it. But we're not doing that. It seems like everything is moving the way it should be. So we're gonna drop this on its nuts and let it rest on the axle. We're gonna move up to the front and drop the front. Oh, look at that, they're freaking silver. Oh no. I bet these are lowering springs. Luckily, there's a part number on here, so I'm gonna look that up and see what these are. Well, the Beltec springs are 1-inch lowering springs according to the interwebs, which is kind of confusing because the spring itself is shorter than this one, and it's really hard to tell, but this metal is thicker. Shorter spring, thicker metal, taller spring, thinner metal. This is supposed to be a 2-inch drop. That's a 1-inch drop. Okay, yeah, now you can see it. Okay, see how that's center? See how that is towards the bottom? So this isn't a drop spindle, so good, we didn't waste $200. All right, this side is wrapped up, put grease on the spindle, packed the bearings a little bit. We're sitting pretty good, ready to roll. We're gonna jump to that side. That side should be significantly faster because we just did everything on this side. So no shocks, no motor in it. So imagine 2.5, 3 of me on there. It's gonna put it down probably another 2 inches, I bet. Use your imagination here. Probably down to there, right there. I originally wanted it to be slammed, but we are literally bottomed out back here. I know we could C-notch it, but we don't really have the time or money to do something like that. So my train of thought was, okay, well, let's just drop the body as low as it'll go. Well, with these seats in here, the headrest is almost touching this already. However, if we put like a Kirky in it or something where I'm literally like a ½ inch off the ground, we have a tremendous amount more room. What I'm wondering now is if we get this point here to sit flush with the S10 floor. That's about it's basically 4 inches. Where the heck did the straight edge go? I don't think we're gonna be able to get it to sit as low as I wanted. I'm starting to freak out. We have 2.5 months to get this done. We have 3.5 months to get this done. I'm starting to stress out and kind of try to think, okay, what is the fastest route to do? So that's sitting on that. So that was about 2 inches, 4 inches. That'll put this down another 2 inches. That might be doable if that point is about there on the tire. We're still gonna have a lot more ground clearance than a MiniCooper would, at least in appearance. But I think if we can get that down 4 inches, get this down 2 inches, cut this out, have to cut most of what remains structure-wise right there.
I'm not always on it though. I don't post anything.
That's fair. You gonna bring the Lexus?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot just happened. Let me fill you in. We got a hood. We acquired it. Yay. It's kind of already kind of stripped and beat up underneath, which is perfect. You need to put that on first because most of the wheel well is on that. And I don't know if this is centered with the wheel well because the other hood was so crinkled, couldn't do anything with it. That is obviously going to be above the hood. So here's what I'm thinking. We're going to cut a freaking hole that's going to allow that to poke up. Then using the English wheel, I want to make a nice little domed dish. It's going to kind of look like, you know, the old DSM hoods. They got that nice little hump for the cam gears. That seems wildly unnecessary, but they did it anyways. Going to be kind of like that, or like on the Celica GT4 hoods, they have those little nice little humps that kind of have an air vent. We might make it look like some kind of off-centered air vent. That does absolutely nothing. It cools the plastic. Okay, so we got to put that on first. We got to cut a hole for that first, otherwise it's not going to sit the way we want it to sit. And then we got to make sure that this is correct forward and backward. Then we can drop this down. The floor right here, this is flat, right? That's the flattest part that we have to reference. That is -1 degree. This is at about 5 degrees. So we have 6 degrees to go down to get this level with that. We are doing that because the rear doesn't have coilovers, so we don't really know if the frame itself is level. But if we match this to the flat part of the floor, as long as we match those degrees, then it will be level with however it wants to sit. Does that all make sense? It probably doesn't because I'm talking 100 miles an hour. So before we lower this and see where it's actually going to sit, I got to cut a hole in the thing that I just spent $100 on. It's hot. It's making my face moist. What were we talking about? Well, I'm glad we did that because we are way off. This is an excellent benchmark abrasive advertisement. I wrapped the metal around the device and the wheel still didn't explode. Scary. Fascinating, Zach. This is science. But of all the times to sneeze, did you catch that? That's why that happened. I sneezed and then it jumped and grabbed. Yesterday we got the front of the MiniCooper officially mounted. We got the brake booster popping out the hood. We got the thing as low as it will possibly go without interfering and making things more complicated. Yesterday afternoon, me and Zach put some temporary supports in place to hold the rear where we want it. And today we're gonna make mounts for the rear and hopefully fill the giant gap that is between the two sections of the car. Okay, so made some progress. Got whatever, it's not ugly, but that's gonna be pretty strong. We got those supports cut off and we added some more, and then basically what we've done here, I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to do this, but this is kind of what I did in the past and it worked well, so we're gonna do it again. This is relatively thick for sheet metal. It's probably about twice as thick as this, and I just cut a bunch of slats and put it behind it just to kind of keep straight with straight. This is obviously still pretty floppy, but we'll tie it into there later. Grind down all these tack welds because I welded it on the other side, as you can see from all the burn marks. So we're gonna cut those off, or cut them down rather, so it's flat, and then we're going to do the tape method, tape this all up, make a template, and then cut a sheet of sheet metal out. So when you're working with sheet metal like this, it's really easy to distort the metal from the heat, so you want to take your time with the tacks. One thing I've learned, I used to start in the middle of these pieces and work my way to the outsides. What I've learned is starting from one end and going to the other is a lot easier, because as the metal moves and shrinks, if you do need to trim it, you're only focusing on that one plane going forward. Instead of starting in the middle, you got to focus on both. And if it does shift from side to side, then you'd be shocked how much it does. You don't have to fight the top and the bottom. You can just work on that singular line going from one end to the other. So take it with a grain of salt, but seems to work a lot better than starting in the middle. Show yourself so they know.
Basically professional.
So, and you don't have to be like terrified of letting off early. Like it's not gonna immediately warp it. It's like if you see that you're missing, you can take the extra second or two to jump it over. Don't look at me every time you do a weld for approval. Just send it. Yeah, that's hot. So give that a minute, let them cool off. So on this one, this sheet metal is barely thicker than this. So kind of the same concept. And actually on this, what would be easier is pick one of my tacks and weld like below it and just kind of continue the tack and then jump to this one, focus the heat on the tack. And then you'll have less of a chance of blowing out because there's already some bulk there. Quit looking for sexual innuendos in my advice. Just, oh my.
You're in trouble.
That was perfect. The thin metal's a pain in the butt. It doesn't matter how good you are, it always sucks. Perfect. Look what showed up yesterday. How convenient. Picture said it came with bolts. Look at that suspension travel. Looks like we're building a lowrider. Well, that motor mount is on. That one won't go on. But it kind of fits.